Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Matt from Fierce Gaming back today with another video on Overwatch. Today we're talking about how to carry with the DPS class. Now, there are a lot of guides out there that will give you a few vague tips, but none that really encapture the one biggest secret of climbing up the ranks with teammates or even in solo queue. Now, first things first, let me spend a quick minute explain every other DPS carry guide out there. They can all be summed up fairly quickly. They are all the same. Step 1, you single out the supports or other high value targets. For obvious reasons, this is a staple in carry guides, as generally the supports are the most valuable kills to secure, especially Mercy. Her high healing and mid-fight res are giant influences in a team fight. The second tip, they all say quick mention of hero selection. I'm actually going to have a lot more about this in a later video detailing which heroes are the best with which supports. But back to a quick recap of all the other carry guides. You know, if they don't have hit scan, go Pharah. If they don't have anti-dive, go Tracer or Genji. If they have Pharah, go hit scan. Duh. You counterpick the other team, you'll do better. I mean, that's kind of obvious. Finally, the last type of tip they give you is always a general skill tip, positioning, flanking, stuff like that. Stuff you already know, but we're hoping they would tell you in a different way. Take the high ground, like, duh. If you have the option to take the high ground, take the high ground. We all know that. We didn't need to watch this video to get told that. That's not what this guide's about. Now it's time to get serious. There's a chance this is going to hurt your feelings, but you need to be told. If you ever told your team you just carried them to a victory, that you single-handedly won the game, there is a 95% chance you were totally wrong. Yes, there are huge plays that influence the entire game, and you could even have a few a game, but that doesn't mean you're the sole reason your team won. Do yourself a favor and start accepting you can't kill the entire enemy team, capture the point, move the payload, and win all by yourself. Even most of those giant plays happen because of multiple factors that you need to think about. Did you receive healing or a nano boost for the play of the game? Did the D.Va matrix you, or did the Ryan hold his shield up so you don't get sniped? Did any of your team take the attention of any of the enemy's team away from you? They aren't always easy to see, but your team probably supported you most of the game, and if they don't, you're never going to consistently climb. If your team is never supporting you, it might be that you are doing something wrong. Now, that isn't to say this video is 100% clickbait. I'm not going to tell you how to bring your team to success. This is just step 1. Understand, you cannot do it by yourself. Use your team. This cannot be emphasized enough. It is fundamental to the game, and it makes the game so much more enjoyable, trust me. Here's something you've all heard before: if you can find a team to play with them. Now, I personally know this is not possible sometimes because I don't have a team I play with. All my friends play on PlayStation instead of PC, and I don't play at a standard time, so finding people to play with consistently is impossible. Getting a team together, while it is the most fun way to play Overwatch and climb together, it's not always going to be an option. Now, that's not to say you can't use your team even if you only play with them for a few minutes. Just understand how to utilize your teammates' roles. Let's start with the tanks. Their job is to create space for the DPS to work with, whether that is taking the high ground or just pressing W and giving you space. To understand how much this benefits you, think about every time you've been spawn camped or have spawn camped the other team. In those situations, the tanks were incapable of taking back the space right outside their spawn, so the DPS were at a major disadvantage. When you don't have room to work with, you don't have a relatively safe place to retreat to when things go wrong. The best example of this is Doomfist. Doomfist thrives in an environment where he can jump into the chaos, use a combo to secure a quick kill, and then retreat to a safe area, usually right behind a Rhine shield for a few seconds, to get some health, let his cooldowns reset, and get back in there. If you've ever tried to play Doomfist without good tanks creating space, it's really hard to get out with your life once you secure a kill. Now, I know what you're thinking. This is a DPS carry guide. Why do I need to know the jobs of the tanks? Listen very closely. I see this throughout all levels of play from bronze to high masters. Utilize the space the tanks give you. With the exception of high mobility flankers, if you're playing Soldier, if you're playing McCree, or another hero likewise, stand behind the shield. It's a one-way barrier that people don't constantly utilize. Why? I will never understand. I'll never understand when playing Rhine and my friendly Soldier is shooting someone right in front of me, he has to walk in front of my shield. Like, if he could only get 3 feet closer, he could secure that kill. I have seen time and time again, a DPS thinks they are winning the game single-handedly, ignoring the shields and the space the tanks create to go create their own space. Understand, that is not your job. and if you're really good at it, then you should be playing tank. I know some of you are looking at your monitors saying, well, I'm good enough to do both. Well, if you're that good at doing both, imagine how good you'd be if you put 100% of your effort into just doing your job and not the tanks. Another thing you're going to hate to hear, follow your tanks. Understand they are the people in charge of where you go. If you disagree with the strategy, then tell them. Don't just go do your own thing. I've played many a game on Horizon Point A where the tanks decide to go left and communicate this, but the DPS go right to secure the high ground and don't say a word. This leaves your tanks and healers pretty defenseless on the left and the DPS on the high ground with no support whatsoever. Another thing I hear complaints about is the tanks don't know what they're doing. They're going the wrong way. They need to go to the right place. If you're talking to your tanks and you think they're going the wrong way but they just won't listen and you swear that you know better, then next game, play main tank. Do the right thing, and if you are right and the DPS does follow you, you will win more games. Maybe you'll discover you're wrong and you'll listen to your tanks next time. The point is, when you're playing DPS, you are agreeing to an unspoken social contract that you will follow your tanks, protect them, and the healers. If you break this contract, the only thing you're doing is putting yourself and your team at a major disadvantage. Lastly, understand the tanks need the DPS to do their job correctly. A main tank by themselves is pretty easy to kill with most heroes. Think about a Rhine trying to fend off a good tracer by themselves. It is impossible. But if you have a soldier right behind you, she has to be a lot more careful. You want to carry as DPS? Stand with your tanks. Lastly, let's talk about the supports. With everything we just covered with the tanks, the rest is pretty easy. Most supports are easy to kill by themselves, but if they're behind a Rhine with the DPS, they become a very daunting target. If you're playing DPS, something you're gonna need is healing, and if you're not getting enough in the game, it could be your fault. The biggest tip I can give you, the best thing for people below masters to hear, and the reason you watched this video is mainly for this one sentence. Are you ready? Get your pens and notepads out, write this down, and hang it right above the screen that you play Overwatch on to remind you every time you play. You ready? Here it is. Make it easy for the supports to heal you. Really soak that in. I'll say it again. Make it easy for the players on support to support you. For example, you're playing Genji. You don't have a Zenyatta who can just give you his orb and stay as far away as you can out of the conflict. Don't expect your Moira to be able to walk behind you in the middle of a team fight to keep you alive. Even Mercy has a short distance she can heal, and for the most part, she has to be able to see you. Yes, she has an ability that allows her to follow you wherever you go, but if she flies in the middle of a team or even in a somewhat exposed location, she becomes the biggest target to the other team. If she is not 100% safe, she becomes public enemy number 1, and this means she doesn't want to follow you. This also comes down to DPS selection in relation to the support selection, which I will be doing a video on next week. We're going to be talking about which DPS synergizes best with which healers, but that is going to be a wrap for this video. We'd love to see your feedback in the comments below, so let us know what you think about the video and what you would like to see in the future. We are a brand new channel, so please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Follow us on Twitter at FierceGamingOW. Check out the link in the description below. We'll keep you up to date on all things Overwatch related. This is Matt from Fierce Gaming signing off. I will see you guys next time.